Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. China has announced retaliatory tariffs on some American goods as US tariffs on all Chinese goods come into force. The Chinese tariffs would put a 15% import tax on US coal and liquefied natural gas, plus 10% on crude oil, agricultural machinery, pickup trucks and some sports cars. President Donald Trump says the Chinese tariffs are a response to trade deficits and the flow of fentanyl into the US. Proposed US tariffs of 25% on Canadian and Mexican goods have been postponed after last-minute talks.
Whether this trade war actually turns out to be a trade war, and Xi and Trump speak on the phone, which was already planned, who knows? Maybe in the next day or two, Xi will say something that will satisfy Trump. I don't think so, but I think that's the theatrics that is going on in the background here. And it really undercuts, I think, Trump's strategy to try to be a strong man relative to other countries around the world using tariffs.
At least 5 people have been shot at a school in central Sweden at an adult education centre. The shooting happened in Örebro, 200 kilometres west of Stockholm, on Tuesday afternoon. The incident took place before 1 p.m. local time, and officials urged residents to stay away from the school. El Salvador has offered to take in criminals deported from the US, including those with US citizenship, and house them in a mega jail. The deal was announced after US Secretary of State Marco Rubio met the Salvadorian President Nayib Bukele during his visit to the Central American nation. Bukele, whose iron-fisted approach to gangs has won him plaudits from voters but been heavily criticized by human rights groups, said he had offered the US the opportunity to outsource part of its prison system. Rubio said the US was profoundly grateful to Bukele, adding that no country's ever made an offer of friendship such as this.
First, obviously, he continues with full cooperation on the returning of Salvadorians who find themselves illegally in the United States and welcome them back home. And that's already existing, and that will continue. But second, he has agreed to accept for deportation any illegal alien in the United States who is a criminal from any nationality, be they MS-13 or Tren de Aragua, and house them in his jails. And third, he has offered to house in his jails dangerous American criminals in custody in our country, including those of U.S. citizenship and legal residence.
Thousands of residents are fleeing the Greek island of Santorini amid a wave of seismic activity. Some 6,000 people have left the island by ferry since Sunday, according to local media, with emergency flights scheduled to leave on Tuesday. More than 300 earthquakes have been recorded in the past 48 hours near the island, and some experts say tremors may continue for weeks. Authorities have closed schools for the entire week and warned against large indoor gatherings, but Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis has urged calm. A second woman is confirmed to have died in flooding, which has inflicted incredible devastation on communities in northern Australia. The region has been inundated since Saturday, with parts of northern Queensland seeing nearly 2 metres of rain. By Tuesday, conditions were starting to ease, although Queensland Premier warned it was still a disaster that's going to test the resolve of people. He described the devastation as incredible, but noted weather conditions had been really kind in recent hours. Thousands had begun to return to their homes. The alliance of rebel groups in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo have declared a humanitarian ceasefire starting today. In a statement, the group, which includes the Rwanda-backed M23 rebels, cited humanitarian reasons for the ceasefire after it has been capturing territory in eastern parts of the country. The UN said at least 900 people have been killed and 2,800 injured in recent fighting in and around Goma, the largest eastern city after it was seized by rebels. The G7 nations and the EU have condemned the offensive as a flagrant violation of the Democratic Republic of Congo's sovereignty. And the man who ran the entire length of Africa has announced his next challenge, running the full length of New Zealand. Russ Cook, named hardest geezer, completed his previous endurance challenge in April last year after 352 days running the full length of Africa. He crossed the finish line in Tunisia. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.